Hey, welcome back, right thinkers. Thanks for tuning in. Check out your boy, Reform Thinking, right out here in my lab, and I'm in the book doing what I do for you. Oh, we about to find out what is the purpose of the Anunian right thinking philosophy theurgy and the Anunian tree of life concept. Oh, it's gonna be fun. More lessons in life that you can use if you understand the teaching. I hope you do. That's my job. Let's rock. Rightisms. 25 rule led by storytelling, story with messages. There's always a message in my stories for life. I give you real life lessons. You tune in and receive them. The few who do, I appreciate you do. But we got a good thing going. Let's do what we do. Right thinking mission, and that's what I'm on, is to enlighten, inspire, educate, and motivate you, the individual, to a higher spiritual level of enlightenment. Right thinking way of life through mental and spiritual discipline, practice daily will help and guide you to obtain your goal of reaching spiritual enlightenment, aka know thyself. My mission that all right thinkers know thyself. If you're a right thinker, your goal is to know thyself. See where we're going with this? Let's get there together. So I asked the question, do you know you? You will when I'm through. That's what I do for you. It's rhetorical, but if you don't have the answer for yourself, tune in. I got you. A person who knows not and knows not that they know not is foolish. Disregard them. Don't be them. A person who knows not and knows that they know not is simple, but you can teach them. That's why I do what I do for you. Appreciate you too. Stay tuned. I got more for you. A person who knows not and believe and think that they know is dangerous, avoid them. I do. A person who knows and knows that they know is wise. Follow them. All these persons, excuse me. Oh, whoa. A person who knows not and knows that they know. This person who knows not they know is spiritually asleep. I can awaken them. I'm the spiritual alarm clock here to wake you up with knowledge of self. That's what I do for you. A person who knows and knows that they know is wise. Follow them. All these persons reside in you, right? They just know thyself and to Maya be true. This is gonna be fun. This is gonna be a good breakdown lesson that I learned a long time ago, just like going back to school again. But now, instead of me being a student, I'm the teacher. Let's go. Reform's philosophy asks, what is the purpose of the Anunian Theurgy, the study of God, and the Anunian tree of life, how to get to God, how to understand and manifest God. And the goal is here, know thyself. That's the goal and the purpose for religion. To you to know, right here, highlight it right there, thyself. All right? It's ways to do that, and I've found it. So all I'm trying to do is teach anybody I can the way. Let's rock. It's many different ways, but I know a way that I chose, that I did, so I can tell you that way. My pastor got a way that he teach every Sunday in church. I got my way I teach every day here. Let's rock. So know thyself is the goal for all human beings. More importantly, right thinkers. We have a goal. Okay, that's our goal. That's to make you right thinker. Why? Because you want to know yourself. Know, it says reek, I am, ib, I. They call the ib the heart. That's the word for the heart. Reek means to know. All right? And it says know I. Meaning know me. In heart, mind. They knew that there was a brain in the heart a long time ago. We just found out in 1990s that the heart has a bigger brain capacity and then the brain than the head do. I gave that lesson already. Again, not impressed, but they knew about the heart. Why? They judged by the heart. They knew the heart. Okay, I was the only ignorant one about the heart. I ain't gonna talk about that right now. But it says, "I know what is in my heart. God dwells in the heart of man." They knew that a long time ago. We've been kicking the can up and down the street for long, and we ain't figured that part out yet. We still looking for God up in heaven. This little white man up in the clouds, some damn way. It's a spirit in consciousness. We made God human. That's not God. God made us human, okay? But we were supposed to become spiritually enlightened beings, not ignorant human beings. Let's go. And it says, I know myself. How could you know yourself? Practice, study to be yourself, your best self. The id, IAD, or your heart, is the mind of every individual person. The ego, thoughts, that's human, aspect of the personality, it is the essence in which contains the desires, the feelings, the unconscious thoughts which emanate from what? Your soul. We call it the ba of the person. Thus, to know one's heart is the great injunction of what we call spirituality. God is spirit. We need to know God. We need to know our heart. We need to know God dwells in our heart. Not in all. It's in the temple. The temple is up here because all is mine. God has two parts that make him hidden and unseen. But the spirit is in the heart. The consciousness is in our mind. So we have the same qualities of God. He gave us that. We use it for what? Our own self, one way or another. But he gave us free will to do what we want. Okay, let's go. So again, in the essence, so thus, knowing your heart is the great injunction of spirituality. For one to know their heart is indeed synonymous with what? Knowing your innermost self, aka God, thyself. It breaks all down, but we got to take you a long way around the mulberry bush to get you to understand. I ain't got a problem with that, so let's go. Like the 42 injunctions of Maya, they lived and practiced Maya for thousands of years, and they lived in peace and harmony amongst each other as a society of people. And everybody who came in to meet them, we ingratiated them, we took care of them respectfully, and everybody said that we were the most spiritual people they ever met. Why? We was godly, good people. Simple. And that was by practicing Maya. I went 30 years ago and been practicing ever since. It still works today. The teachings contained in the writings for the Heru, book of coming forth by day, or the ignorant book of the dead, you are giving from the first person singular perspective. You're speaking from the I, not a commandment. I hear the church concept, God command. No. We went to say that I have, okay? Nuke mean I have. But are indeed meant as universal injunction. Everybody can practice it. Anybody can practice it. Anybody can use it. It ain't just for us. It read, it said, commandments will tell you, do not lie. Instead, in the Marat philosophy, it says, I have not lied. Speaking for yourself. When you speaking, you should speaking your person from yourself, not third person. That's the dumbest stuff I ever heard. Speak for yourself and speak in your person. And likewise, know thyself instead of what? Know myself. Make it real simple, okay, to understand for those who are in. Know thyself, meaning know your God self, know your inner self, your higher self, whoever self you want to call it. Supreme self, again, is the self, the all, the absolute. You need to become conscious of that. That's when you know yourself. In chapter 26 of the Heru, the initiate Ani, he says, he has gained control over his body. My lower nature don't control me. When I was younger, he never got over his lower nature. Why? Whenever he decided, that's what he went and did. Satisfy his pleasures. Okay, that's was his thing. It ain't mine. At one time it was. And I was young, okay. But I realized, I ain't beat for that. And now, y'all got these pills to keep a man erection 36 hours. Moving on, I ain't getting involved with that. But what he's saying, he had control over his body, mean he no longer led by the lower nature, wanting to stay hard for 36 hours and have sexual or crazy. But now his soul will not be imprisoned by the ego of the person who's controlling him right now. And him, if he led by his ego, his lower nature, he will just wander around and put it in anyway. No self-control. And this clearly shows you that it means that he has gained self-knowledge of his true, deeper, powerful self. Meaning not the pleasure self, but his higher self. If you live in pleasures, you satisfy your lower self, okay? But now he's saying he no longer knows himself to be Ani. Why? I'm a different dude, okay? But as his higher self, Haru, This gives him the personal power over what? His ego self. Right there, right there, right there. When you raise your conscious level over your pleasure to self, now you're raising your conscious level to become your best self, your higher self. That's how you become Haru-er. Your higher, you overpower your ego, lower self personality in the physical world. It's not running you no more. Okay? He never challenged his. But as well as in the netherworld, it don't stop here. It continues. And that's the fate that you set for yourself. There are 2 passages in the chapter 17 in the Pert Im Haru and in chapter 64. The book of coming forth by day. These are phrases that they all relate to what? Elsewhere in the Pert Im Haru, as well as the temple inscriptions. And what they say, with the same teaching, same philosophical saying. What's that? Know thyself. It wasn't a big whoop to do. It was the norm. It was what we did. Know thyself. That was, But later on, it was popularized by yours truly, the Greek temple of Apollo at Delphi. They put a big thing, but they said, man, know thyself. Again, patriarchal, egoistic concept. Why do man got no self? What about woman? So I got some issues with certain things. Again, I'm a thinker, so I can observe and pay attention. Why you just leave it the way it was? Oh, when you steal, you gotta tweak it a little bit. I know a little bit about that, so yeah, I get it. But yeah, know thyself is universal. First of all, so I ain't get with the man. When I hear man, that pisses me off. Why? That's man's idea. Women should be submitted to men. According to who? Men. Women ain't say that nonsense. So, excuse me. All right, let me get back to the lesson. But again, the Apollo made know thyself famous. That's my personal calling card. Okay, I think that's serious. Why? That's the calling, that's the creed that they left us. They left us that phrase. And they know with that phrase, wouldn't nobody pay attention to it, wouldn't nobody know. But that was the norm back then. Now it's deception. People knowing themselves. I don't want to be in deception. I want it to be norm. So I'm spreading the gospel, giving the good news out to anybody who want to listen. Okay, moving on. They call me the Chicken Little and run around with the little boy to work. The sky is falling. No, we are ignorant. We need to wake up. We need to wake up. So yeah, I'm Chicken Little when it comes to that. All right, let me get a little breakdown. I'll usually skip this because I call it with fluff. Now the time I can teach it. We got a word called Shita, S-E-T-A. That means mystery. Shita means hidden, something that's hidden. Amun is who? The hidden one. So Shita is trying to teach you about Amun, which is hidden. Where? In you. Not outside. Moving on. So in our study, the first and the most important teachings that need to be understood by my right thinkers, aka spiritual aspirants, who wants to practice. When I joined the Masonic order, and you join any order, the question is, are you here on your own free will and accord? That means you here because you want to be. Nobody threatened you, nobody coerced you or promised you, but no, okay, there you go. So understand that. Right thing, you got to be here on your own free will and accord. That's the first thing. And you want to practice the teaching. I'm not forcing nothing. I'm making you do it. You here to learn. I'm teaching. Let's go. That's a match made in heaven. That's right. So the teachings of our ancient Egyptian religion surrounds the ancient Egyptian word, which is Sheti, S-H-E-T-I, or Shedi, S-H-E-D-Y. The T-I and the D-Y pretty much are synonymous when you start using them. So that's what they did. But Shedi is the definition. It means spiritual disciplines. I practice Shedi daily. I live it. Sheti comes from the root Shita. The ancient Egyptian word Shita means that which is hidden, something secret, unknown, or something that cannot be seen or understood. A secret, a mystery. See where we're going with this? Hence the mystery system. Okay, they teach you hidden mystery system. Rituals, which are words of power. Praying, we call it heka, mantras, affirmations, confirmation about one's experience to God. We wrote hymns to Amun, to God, what they thought, how they felt about God. Everybody expressed themselves in a real articulate format of God. They wasn't just blandly making a whole bunch of crazy statements, superstitions. God did this, God did that, oh, this, that, and the third. No, no. So religious texts and pictures are Shita Netta, or what we call divine mysteries, and Shiti means spiritual discipline, and it is to go deeply into the mysteries of who we know to be God. So you have to study the mystery teachings and apply them. And you have literature that's profoundly written that you can understand to penetrate the mysteries from learning, practicing, and that's how you penetrate the veil of ignorance. Not knowing, you need to go to knowing. Thus, Shiti is the spiritual discipline that one can practice and set a program and to promote your spiritual evolution. I mean, you're getting spiritually better. You're gaining information about what? God. You're starting to implement the stuff and getting closer to God by living right, which was used in ancient Egypt. Now we can begin to expand on those teachings of that spiritual program that worked for them thousands of years ago, and it lasted for thousands of years, so it must work. These all fall under the broad term, you ready? Smatawi, aka Egyptian yoga, meaning spiritual discipline that you practice from our ancient Egyptian ancestors who practiced this and made it a way of life. The hieroglyphic text, first writings of man, related to the terms that explains the mysteries, provide insight into the vast philosophy. A Kemet, ancient Egyptian spirituality, they had it laid out. All you had to do is practice it. Just like the Bible. Y'all got a 2,000-year-old book. Y'all swear it's the gift, greatest gift since sliced bread. Moving on. The essential aspects of these teachings of our ancient Egyptian religious concepts had outlined in the Kemetic mystery system. Hieroglyphs are explained below. They call them hieroglyphs. If you hear a hieroglyph, that means the Greek is involved. That means the white man hands on it. But if you hear Medjunetta, that's us. We can teach us about us. I don't want that other guy teaching about us. He don't really know us. And in Michael Jackson words, he don't give a damn about us. So why would he teach us about us? You can't trust him. Okay? He's the same one that enslaved us. Made it illegal, punished by death, to teach us how to read, to educate us. What kind of person does that? Moving on. Just put it out there. I know the history. But the first term, Shita, meaning a mystery. They write it in the hieroglyphs. Okay? Shita means something hidden. Again, this, by learning what's hidden, leads you to Shita or Shita, meaning something hidden and difficult to understand, hence studying. Okay? Watch this. Pay attention. The mysteries and something hard to get through. So this term relates specifically to learning the mysteries and gaining understanding through the teachings and its secret nature, implying that, yeah, it is difficult for one to understand and even to assimilate the mystery teachings. And for these reasons, a guide, a teacher, a sage, or saint is needed. Y'all got Bibles at home, but y'all go to church every week and let the preacher tell you about it. Same concept, okay? So Shiti is derived from the term Shita, S-H-T-A-I, which means hidden or secret being. Hello, God. Shita is finding out, learning about God. Amun, the hidden one. And in other words, God. The divine essential nature and the self, the all. The divine is also Shita, which is hidden, now hidden in forms, as well as Shita Kepri. That's the scarab beetle, the coming forth in the day, the sunrise. That's right, in the morning, the coming of life. It means hidden creator of forms that will come into being. The scarab beetle is the concept of coming into being. So therefore, the divine is also Shita Aket. Arquette is the hidden essence behind the properties which sustain matter. You got past, you got the future. That's the lion, one looking that way, one looking that way. That's why they're still looking for the other part of the Sphinx. It was in the astrological zodiac sign. Duh. He's looking at himself up there. Down here, we put it in different form, but that's the concept of the two pyramids. That's my little calling card here. That's how I know the symbolism with that one. It means coming up out of nowhere, coming, rising, okay, into something. So the divine self is not only hidden in the present and the future forms, but also what? The Shita Ba Netta, meaning the divinity is hidden in the human beings, meaning that the divine manifests in the souls of all human beings, just as the land of Kemet, y'all know it's Egypt, is Shita. Sheet means hidden, Ta means land, and hidden when it's covered by the Nile flood, when it comes open for inundation, when the farmers couldn't work because the land is covered with flooded, and when they left the black soot which fertilized the land, and it started just growing like that, okay? That's what they call resurrection. They use nature, resurrection with vibrant new life. They use death to show resurrection, new life. So too, the Shita, a person hidden, covered in the coffin when the physical body dies, the mummy resurrects into a new life. The aspirant, you may wear a Shita Hobash, which is a shroud or linen cloth, and the best garment is Shitata Haru, which is the shroud or the covering garment of Haru. They use the same concept with Jesus. This is his faith, the shroud of Jesus. Mythologically, I can roll with that. Literally, I can't. That's all. Moving on. Haru, we know it's a mythological story. We get it. I understand. I can understand the philosophical concept and practice it, implement it in my life. Practice the ritual. I become Haru. I tell you, that's the spirit that's in me and you. And you take on the protection as well as this identity of what your divine self, which is Haru, is the divine king that's incarnated. That's us, born from our Father, reincarnated as such. Now is the Shita Aset, which is divinity in the hidden abode, which is the throne that you're going to sit on, okay, thanks to her lessons in life. Thus, the mysteries are contained in the Shitek, which is the writings to the hidden teachings, the philosophical treatises, and those writings are referred to as, you ready? Medu Netta. Medu meaning divine speech from God, writings from God, the writings of God Tahuti. Also refers to in the, here we go with the hieroglyph, that means you know who's involved, texts or the inscriptions. The term Medu Netta makes use of a special hieroglyph form, which is the stylus we use today, the stylus, but it means metu, or a staff, a walking stick, something to help you up, hold you up. The phases of life, man, born on 4, goes to 2, ends up on 3. That means he's getting old, he need a walking stick, he needed help. That's what the medu means. It's helping to keep you walking stick in old age, also in speech. This means that speech is also supported by the divine. Speaking from the heart, that's honest. Person who speaks from the heart speaks Makadu. But thus, the hieroglyphic writings is to prop which sustains the divine in this time and space is the what? The divine writings that contains the wisdom teachings which leads to enlightenment of one to the divine self, aka we call it Shita Netta. And watch this, the purpose of Shita Netta is to attain Nihas, spiritual awakening, emancipation, and spiritual resurrection. The body or the Shita, the mummy, is where a human being focuses attention and to practice his spiritual discipline daily. When your spiritual discipline is perfected, when you reach enlightenment, now the true self or the Shita, he who is hidden in the coffin is revealed to you consciously. And it says here, she taught Netta secrets about the divine self. I got a little more to go. Stay with me. So she taught Netta means the way of wisdom, of the way or the wisdom of the hidden divinity, which is beyond all creation. Watch this. And all religions have 3 layers of practice to them. The first is the myth, story, which includes the tradition. Okay, they do it orally or they got it written down. But that's a story and everything related to it. So the next stage, second process, is the ritualization, meaning you practice the story or the myth. Again, the myth. The final stage is what we call metaphysical philosophy, which is beyond the teachings given in the myth in our book series of the Shi'ita Netta religion. I got that book too. And the ancient Egyptian book of African religion, Assyrian theology, presents the complete myth, the story of Asar, Aset, and Haru. That's the spirit that's in me and you, our parents, and how we became about. That's the universal story. That's the one that's favorite by everybody because it represents, and even with the story of Aset, Asar, Aset, and Haru, represents only the first level of religious practice. There's more to it than just that. And y'all get caught up in that and think you got something. But the book of coming forth by day, it represents the stage 2 of the ritualization of the myth of Asar, meaning you're practicing it, you're living it. Asar and Haru. And Asar Set and Haru. And through the practice of the daily rituals that's contained in the book, it is now possible for you, the individual, to feel, to think, and even act, and ultimately experience the same fate as did Haru, like they want you to do with Christ. Spiritual enlightenment is gained in 3 stages. Thus, a spiritual aspirant is to understand that his or her has incarnated here on earth. Some people say he made a soul contract. I'm not with none of that. But it has been dismembered. You came here. You've been dismembered by what? Your ego, thoughts, and your actions. However, by you gaining your own personal understanding of the hidden mysteries, thyself within yourself, God, now it's possible for you to reach a state of reintegration, beatitude, and self-resurrection, just as Haru, the spirit that's in me and you, to reach what? Haru Herb. I'm taking it home with this one. So therefore, all serious, right thinking, spiritual aspirants, you should see yourself in every aspect of life as the ritual that you practice daily, in which your soul within you, which is Asar. Hold on one second. Excuse me. Yeah, where we at? Asar. Okay, your inner self, which is Asar. That's your father. We're Haru. Asar is our father. Aset is our mother. Our father is represented by spirit. Our mother is represented by wisdom. Spirit and consciousness. Sound familiar? Come on, y'all. And is struggling. What happened? In the human form, we are struggling to what? To be reborn again as who? Haru greatness. We want to achieve it in our physical form here on earth. And this spiritual rebirth, hello, it's not a physical, it's a spiritual rebirth, reincarnating spiritually with consciousness and understanding. And this spiritual rebirth is only accomplished by the practice, daily practice of listening to the teachings, practicing them, meditating upon them, ding, 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 with the true understanding of the hidden knowledge that you're gaining. You can see that all nature around you is divine. Now your third eye is open. You're seeing spiritual. This includes plants, animals, planets, stars, food, other people, etc. You see things through what? The third eye vision. So through your understanding, aka third eye vision, of the myth and how it relates to your daily life, and by living it in your life according to these understandings, the daily ritual that you practice, by living it, you can lead yourself to now what we call self-discovery and the realization of the mystical experience for yourself having communicating with God, becoming one with your higher self. And this is the deeper truth behind your own being as human beings. This is the true practice of all religions. If it's done correct, that's what it gets you back to God. If you only understood the superficial teachings that most religions practice, myth, and now you practice its rituals blindly, unfaithfully, without understanding what you're doing, the deeper implication, you will never obtain enlightenment. You will never reach self-enlightenment. Your practice will be at the level of what they call dogmatic. It's just words. You just wah, 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 wah. You can quote verses. You don't understand them. You just quote them. You just like a parrot. You're repeating what somebody said to you without understanding what the lesson is. So you can't teach it. You ain't learning. So this is why there is so much religious ignorance and constant conflict in the world today. And it's y'all own doing. By your own hands. Anybody did it? Y'all doing this. Most Orthodox, they claim, religious practice is wrong. They only have the first two levels of religion. Myth, that's the story and the ritual. The level of dogma, again, that's where it stops. And at that level of dogma and just one words, each religion has a different myth and rituals. So therefore, little, if any, common ground upon which they come together on ain't there. That's why we still have so many denominations. And even when there are common principles, those principles are founded upon what? And coached in and transmitted through parochial, the private school organization, ideas based on the local folklore, historic histories, and geographical variations, what suits them. The result of this misunderstanding by religious concepts and their ignorance have been the personal disillusionment and the cause of all wars, and yet all the mystical or metaphysical level, all religions are actually pointing toward the same goal, that of what? Spiritual realization. We just ain't practicing it the way it should be to make it a reality for everybody, like they did in ancient Kemet with Maya philosophy. Hope you enjoyed the lesson. I'll be back with more. Right now, I got to go. In closing, right thing, I can't get past the half hour. I'm sorry, but it takes that long to get the message out. That's what it is. Hope you enjoyed it. In closing, right thing, because may you all live to be 100 miles a day. So I never know my right thing, because now you got to better understand what the purpose of the Anunian Theurgy and the Anunian Tree of Life is all about. And passed away. Remember, know thyself.